Good evening, everybody. Rusty Blackwood here on a Sunday evening, just past 7 o'clock on August the 11th. The time is speeding by, I'm telling you. This summer is just speeding by like somebody shot it out of a cannon. And I have to ask for your forgiveness here for any noise that you may be picking up on. I've got a excuse me. I've got a yappy dog back over here. Um, just yap, 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 yap. I don't know what kind of dog it is, but it's obviously a small dog. Has a very noisy bark. Uh, and and I don't want to hear anything back about all you animal lovers out there. I mean, you don't find a more animal lover than me, but that can get annoying. And when people just put their dogs out and let them bark and bark and bark, to me, that is very ignorant, and it is very selfish because there are other people that like to come out and enjoy the summer evenings as much as they would if they were asked. So, anyway, I'm here on the patio again, and I'm enjoying some nice watermelon. I don't know if it's showing up here on the video, but it's a beautiful kind of a apricot coral color. It's not red, um, but my heavens, it is really, really good. So cheers. I think tonight, this is the second video in my impromptu series that I'm doing here on my patio. And impromptu means off the top of your head. It's whatever comes to you. Um, it's not scripted. It's not planned out beforehand. It's just sitting here and talking to the camera and to you on the other side of the camera. I wanted to do this series because I wanted it to be to give the reader, the watcher of this video, a feeling of being here with me, like a one-on-one. I'm on this side of the camera and you're right there. So hi, I hope that you get that kind of feeling because that's what I am trying to achieve here. Um, in the last video, I just spoke about random things about early publishing, what it was like, how I come to do it, who I used and why, that type of thing. So tonight, I think I'm going to just briefly go through some of these titles that I spoke about in the last video. And also make a couple of corrections because the grand scale novel Passions in Paris, Revelations of a Lost Diary is not a 118-page novel. It is an 1818-page novel. That is what makes it a grand scale novel. And the title of my first poetry collection is entitled Feelings, a Rhythmic Journey in Thought, not Through Thought. So I had to make these corrections. I did put a note in the text portion of the previous video that I did where I made those two faux pas. And so, but I don't like leaving things undone. So again, I ask your pardon for getting it wrong. I mean, I'm the author, for heaven's sakes. I should know how many pages are in a particular book that I wrote and the proper name of the book. But that happens. Hey, happens to the best of us. I don't care who you are, what you do, or what you're talking about and when or where. It happens. And so, and when you're doing things live like this and not scripted, this is bound to happen. So I'm going to show you, I have the books here with me, and I'm just going to show them to you briefly. and I might read a little bit out of each one. I don't know yet. I'll see how it goes. I don't want to make too long a video each time because it can become, I suppose it can become boring for you out there listening to it or watching it. Um, so this first collection of poetry spans years of countless emotions, some light, some dark, traveling many avenues in between, but always with the love of expression. Inspiration can come from a small detail, a life experience, or simply fantasy, and blossom into a full-fledged composition. For those who like to journey into someone's mind, I hope you enjoy the traveled roads within. And below in my picture here, I have beside it, I have loved to write since childhood, entering every possible competition available to me. I've carried that love ever since, and have put it to use many times since becoming a serious writer in 2001. And this is the very first publication that I put out, Feelings, A Rhythmic Journey in Thought. This was published by Ex Libris in 2009. And as I spoke about that last night, I had said that I had taken a 2-for-1 package deal with Ex Libris for 2 books. And so I took advantage of it and put out my second publication in 2010. And this was my very first children's collection of short stories called Young Minds. And this is kind of dear to me too, because I wrote these children's stories primarily for my grandchildren, for them to get to know me as a child, what it was like when I was a child, you know, the cost of things, the fashions, the TV programs, that type of thing at the time, and when I was a child. And so I thought they might get a kick out of it. So I put this out, and the majority of stories are based on my own childhood growing up in 1950s rural Ontario, southwestern Ontario. I grew up on my grandfather's farm, my paternal grandfather's farm, and so you know, like, they're based on stories, based on happenings in my childhood. But you know, any writer, like any writer, I'm going to take and tweak them up a little bit so they're not just, you know, super boring. And I wrote for each of my grandchildren a story primarily for them that I put in the collection, and I put it out under the title Young Minds. And I'll just read you the synopsis on the back. Within a child's mind is found a creative world where stars glitter endlessly. The moon is forever full. Water can run uphill. The sun can shine by the mere snap of a finger. Birds soar among the clouds, and magic is very much alive. Within each of us dwells the child we once were. The innocence of that precious time remains, never to be forgotten, but only if we truly let ourselves touch the young mind that once sang, laughed, and played. Young Minds is a collection of short stories contrived from memories and fantasy, and written for the imagination of the young and the young at heart. Within the pages of this book, Miss Blackwood touches the child within herself, bringing memories alive to once again flourish and strive. She invites you to take the journey with her and let the child in you be free. And they were followed by the 2-part Passion in Paris that I spoke about. And this is the very first part of that original story that I started to write in 2001. This is Passion in Paris, Connections to the Past. I hope that you can get a good look at this without too much glare, because the sun is still not totally over the top of the roof, but I sort of hope that you can sort of see here. This was the first part, and it was followed in 2011 by Passions in Paris, Directions of the Heart. This is funny. I got to make sure I'm pronouncing it properly. And this is a beautiful cover. It's blue primarily, and it is. You can see the earth in the background, the lovers clasping hands behind a silhouette of the Eiffel Tower with the flames of that are coming at them in the dire straits that they're in the book. I felt that the designer of this cover came up with a very, very good idea based on the story. And then, as I say, things were just not going great for me, so I pulled my work from Ex Libris, terminated my contract, and decided to put everything out again under new titles with new and additional materials. And the first one I did was for the collection of poetry, and I called it Impressions. This is it here. And on the back, the subtitle is Poetic Rhythm in Emotion. And this contains, a lot of different poetry that I have written from, over the years, dating back to way back into the 90s. If I wrote before that, I don't have them anymore, which is kind of sad. That's a good note there for anybody that is contemplating on writing. Never throw anything away, even if it's not finished, if it's just a paragraph, a few lines you've scratched down that's come to you or something, because you never know when you could go back to it, you could finish it, or when you might require it for something else that you could be planning to work on or are working on at the time. And following Young Minds, this is the second collection of children's short stories that I did. This includes a lot of the same stories from Young Minds, but I also wrote new ones and put them in this collection called Through the Eyes of Innocence. And this is an exclusive cover that was shot by my oldest granddaughter, Carson. She is a fantastic photographer, even though her profession is a nurse. She is a nurse, but she's also a fantastic photographer. She does a lot of my exclusive photography for me and the different photographs that you see online of me. But she also did the cover for this book. I'm very, very proud of that. It's lovely. It's beautiful. It was done in a local park here in St. Catharines. And this is the combination of the two-part Passion in Paris into the grand scale novel Passions in Paris, Revelations of a Lost Diary. This is the 1,818-page grand scale novel, not the 118-page. This novel I am very, very, very proud of because it tells a very, very heart-touching story about two people who are star-crossed, and they are fortunate to find each other again in the life in this book, which takes place in Paris in 1999 at the cusp of the 21st century. And they don't meet very long before dire straits begin to happen for them, and it's just one fiasco after another until they finally end up in the worst situation they could possibly be in, with hardly any chance of surviving it. But fate has its way, and for those who have read the story know what that is, and for those who haven't, I invite you to pick up a copy It is available at Amazon, Barnes& and Noble. It is also available for people that like to read it on Kindle. It is also on Kobo, and it is on Nook. It also is on Smashwords in any electronic device, for any electronic device, no matter what it is, Apple or anything that you may have. And I'm just going to read the back cover of this novel. Here again we go with the noises, and I ask you to bear with me. A forgotten diary, lost for 40 years, reveals the story of a rediscovered love nearly lost in 1999 Paris. An unforgettable romance filled with danger, intrigue, and a love without boundaries. Passions in Paris, Revelations of a Lost Diary tells the story of forbidden love, salacious adultery, cunning jealousy, and unrequited passion. This complex and stirring story, revolving around star-crossed soulmates Canadian author Joy Witchmere and Irish actor Cullen Malone, tells how their immeasurable love is put to the test by three vindictive people, the worst, namely Philippe Robillard, a delusional, misguided, homosexual artist who is determined to make the unsuspecting actor suffer for stealing the man he loves, until he has paid in full with his life. Joy and Cully battle through a series of misunderstandings, embarrassment, torture, and injury until Joy is left fighting to survive a direct gunshot, while Cullen is given the choice of consuming a bottle of barbiturates, certain to take his life, or lose Joy forever if he does not. If this is not enough, the trapped couple's fate grows direr when fire is discovered raging toward them. Endurance and determination is stretched to the limit, asking if love truly can survive all odds and time. And as I say, this is the cover, and right now, this cover is in competition at the website allauthor.com for best cover for August. And I invite you to go there and cast your vote for this very elegant cover and see if it can't actually make it in to the very top 25. Right now it's in its second round. It did make it from the 100, from the over hundreds into the top 100. I believe right now it is listing at number 73. The last time I checked, it had 53 votes, but I would really, really like to see that number climb. I am very, very thankful and grateful to those who have kindly taken the time to go to the site and cast their vote. You can find out also about this contest on my Rusty Blackwood Facebook. Go there, and the links are there to go to this contest at All Author. Or you can just simply Google allauthor.com and it will take you to the site, and from there you can check it out under contest. They have a monthly contest. There's been, this is the third of my novels that have gone into competition for cover of the month. It began with the cover of The Perils of Autumn, my newest novel, and Perils did very, very well. It ended up in the very top 25. Right off the top of my head, I can't tell you exactly what it finished at. But out of all of the entries, I don't think it placed that bad. And then I put Willow's Walk in for competition as well. But poor Willow, she made it through the first round, and that was it. She decided she was going elsewhere. She wasn't going to stay there and see if anybody was going to vote any further for her. I was kind of, I won't want to say disappointed, but I was a little bit sad that it didn't do better than it did, because it is one of the most beautiful covers I've ever seen on a book. I don't have a copy of Willow on the table here with me tonight because Willow is there's a video that's going to be dedicated solely for Willow, that's going to feature Willow's walk, and you will see then. But I've had so many compliments on the cover of Willow's Walk, and at the time that I was researching covers, um, this book was published through CreateSpace, whom I told you about in a prior video that is no longer in production. But I just used one of the designers for the interior, a marketing rep and myself, and my publicist, Don McCauley. We looked after doing the cover ourselves. We did the cover for Passions in Paris, Revelations of a Lost Diary, and we also did the cover for Willow's Walk. And just researching different sites that offer free images for the use of whatever you want to use them for. And you can purchase the rights, and in some cases the rights are just free because the photographer just asked for a credit for his name, and those are the kind that you like to have. And so when I was researching for Willow's Walk, I found a few different covers that I thought would work well, but when I found the one that I ended up using, immediately I knew the second I saw it, that was it. That's Willow, and it just captures your eyes to the cover. The colors are just gorgeous. I wanted all pinks and mauves and green, and it is just beautiful. Just a very, very eye-catching cover. Passions here, I think, is a very elegant cover simply because it's black with white text. The only bit of color is the red rose he is holding in front of her, and my name. But other than that, it's a total black background. She is wearing a black satin evening gown. He is wearing a black tuxedo with a black top hat, and he's embracing her. And there again, it just captures the reader's eye because you can see by the cover that these two are very, very much in love. And that's what the cover of a book should reveal to a prospective reader. The cover should say it all, really. And I think that this cover of Passions does just that. I mean, they're spotlighted in a they're washed in white from this overhead spotlight that just centers them right there and tells you this couple is so in love, and nothing is ever going to break them apart. And so I was very pleased when we found the cover of Passions and for Willow's Walk. With Perils of Autumn, I like the cover very much. They're again very in keeping with the story, but it was done a little bit differently because a different publisher, as I said in the last video, my very first Canadian publisher, and I'm going to be using them again too for Return to Autumn when I get around to that part of the process to actually begin to publish it. So that is my video for tonight. It's just a bit over 20 minutes long, and those are nice videos. This guy in the backyard over here, not directly back of me, but in the next yard back of that, is out there. I don't know what he's doing. I think they're doing a lot of renovating in their house, and so he's, taking advantage of the nice nights to be able to do whatever they have to do before before the seasons change, and there might not be as many nice evenings to do this. So I'm going to say good night, and thank you very much for joining me again. I hope that you will subscribe to my YouTube channel, because this is where I'm uploading the series of videos that I'm going to be doing. They can be found on, different media sites and on my website, but they primarily are on YouTube. So I would very much like you to come by and check them out there. Share them on, comment them please, and subscribe to my YouTube channel. I would very much appreciate that, and I welcome you if you do. So thanks again, everybody, and you have a good evening. Good night for now.